Hello, everyone. I am going to talk today about sisterhood. I titled this, I Am My Sister's Keeper. In watching a lot of these reality shows and just TV in general, seeing all these dysfunctional friendships and women not having each other's back, sleeping with husbands or boyfriends, it made me think about when I was coming up how there was this unspoken sisterhood that we had where we didn't mess with each other's boyfriends or husbands. That was where we drew the line. We did not do it. We had such a level of respect for their marriage or their relationships that we would never. Plus we had a respect for ourselves. If I have any morals, I'm not going to sleep with anybody's husband. That's missing today. I'm not seeing that as much. And I wrote a little pledge about I am my sister's keeper. Now, there was nothing documented, but these are some of the things that we just knew that we had to respect her, support her, and love on her. We just was there when she needed us. We were like her comforter. Now, I still have that in my circle of friends, but I'm not seeing this in general when I'm watching TV. Now, I know a lot of this stuff that they have on now that's called reality is really not reality and it's hyped up and it's a mess. And I'm hoping that this is not what we have come to as women. Just the backstabbing enough is it's out of hand. Back when I was coming up, we always felt this sense of loyalty to one another. It was like it was a solidarity, just having each other's backs. All of my girlfriends were able to trust me. They would come to me about their relationships because they knew I was there to support them. Right or wrong, I supported them and not the husband. Most of Back then, most of the time, I didn't even really know the boyfriend. But I supported her because I knew she needed to talk and she was going through some things and I was going to be there. I valued myself, I valued our friendships, and I was not going to cross over that line. Sure, I had a couple guys that were dating girls I knew that wanted to what we call back then hit on me. And I'd let them know. There was never a time where I did not let one of those guys know that he was wrong and I was going back to her to let her know. So, in me saying that, I remember women defending their men. So, there came a time where you didn't go back and tell her, but you got him in his place where he knew you can't approach me. Women were so wrapped up with men that they didn't want to hear the truth. So, I didn't give them the truth, but I would let the guy know you might have gotten away with this before, but this is where it stops. You're not getting away with it with me. I know she loves you. I knew, I didn't tell him this, but I knew not to go back to her because I've seen the tables turn. And that's why women said they stopped going back and telling their girlfriends because sometimes it didn't work out for the best. It backfired on them. And I get it. I know it has happened. But what do we do about that? We still do not let these men get away with it. You could tell him, I want to say you could curse him out and let him know that it's not going down that way with me. But it was just core values that we had. We had a sisterhood. And I just don't see that anymore. I wish some of these shows would show that. I know they think reality, everybody wants to see the drama, and I get that too. I still watch a little bit of drama, just a little because it gets on my nerves after a while. But have one solid friendship in there. I'm not seeing that. Everybody's turning their backs on one another. It's dysfunctional. It's like a whole big dysfunctional family where everybody's fighting one another. The cursing, just getting loud. It's too much drama now. So even when, let's say, you do take a married man off of your girlfriend or just a woman, there is a saying, an old saying that says the way you got him is the way you're going to lose him. And in most cases, that's true. What are the odds that he'll do the same thing to you? Because those odds are very high. I wouldn't want a guy who was married, had a family, cheated with me, and then came to me, left his family, and then came to me. I wouldn't want that. Think about it. He left his family for you. Do you really feel like the prize? Because this is a cheating man. The bottom line is he's a cheater. Why would you want that? Why would you set yourself up like that? I recently read a story about a woman who admitted that she was a mistress for so many years, gave him an ultimatum after a while. He finally left his wife, came to her. Now, first of all, why did she have to give him an ultimatum? See, he only wanted her as a side piece. But she finally felt, I have to win this battle because I'm in love with him. So, whatever the ultimatum was, and I'm assuming it was, if you don't leave now, I'm out of here. He left his wife, went to her, and she says that next thing you know, he was with her daughter. She started it out like he raped her daughter, but her daughter was 16 and she started messing around with the man. So here you have the mother. Now, he had to be around the daughter for those many years that she was his mistress. Then again, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe he just wanted it to where they did their thing and then he went back home. So it could have been that. She kind of had holes in her story anyway, but so I'm just going to assume that the daughter may have been around this man. So because you was only the side piece, you really didn't know him. You only knew him as being a married man, a family man. So you only saw the good side of him. Here you brought him in your home. Now he either raped or he's with your daughter because they're together. So you lost your man to your daughter. So you brought this into your home. You brought this mess into your home. You wanted this. And that's what you ended up with, a cheater who had no respect for his wife and family, no respect for you, and now he's with your daughter. So we have to think when we're committing sin, there is always repercussions behind it. And I'm always careful when I'm doing things because, and me studying God's word, sometimes it could be inflicted upon your children. I don't want my bad choices, my consciously bad choices, to affect my son's life. So I'm careful. If I'm doing wrong, I'm repenting and I'm pleading and begging because one thing I'm fearful of in life, and that is God. So I don't want my consequences to be upon my son for things that I've done knowingly. So we really have to be careful with this. I know how much God loves marriage. So I want that for myself. I don't want nobody else's husband. I want a marriage for myself so God can love that marriage. and I can be productive in that marriage. I don't want somebody else's mess coming over to me. Possibly, well, I'm not even going to say possibly, that mess becomes your mess. Now, she did say that she always worried about him leaving her for another woman. Now, here you done took him, proudly took him, and now you're worried about him leaving you for another woman. It goes back to what I said, the same way you got him, it's the same way you lose him. Never did she think that that man would mess with her daughter. She may have thought of another woman, but she probably never thought that it would happen right in her home. So again, she didn't know him. She let down her guards, let the devil in, and the devil did his work. Like he normally moves like a snake, he snaked his way into her home, and now her and her daughter has this toxic relationship. Now she did end it where she finally left him. She should have never took him in the first place. And people are always quick to say mistakes happen, stuff happen, in the heat of the moments it just happened. That's your excuse. Because if you held your morals up high and your values was your priority, stuff just don't happen like that. Stuff happens when I accidentally run into somebody's car or, you know, something of that nature. But accidentally sleeping with somebody's husband, no. Don't use the excuse of stuff happens. And I know you're going to also use the excuse that we're human. Yeah, we are. The flesh still sometimes take over. But I never put myself in those situations where stuff can happen as far as me and somebody's husband or me and somebody's mate. You just don't put yourself in those kind of positions. And you always have to hold your values with a man because they do have wandering eyes. It is known that even back in my day, a lot of men did commit adultery, had other families, but sometimes, and I think this, I don't know if statistics were done on it, but I think back then a lot of those women didn't know it first. But once they knew, they'd already established another a relationship with him and probably already had a family with him. So I do understand that once you have that family, why some of the mistresses stayed. But nowadays, I'm seeing women going after married men. I hear some women say, well, I don't want a relationship. And the best relationship to have is with the married man because there's no ties there. I can still do what I want. But you're going after a married man, messing up a family, all for your guilty pleasure because you don't want no relationship. Do you know how many single men are out there? Or men that like to play around like you like to play around? Play with them. Don't play with a married man. And if we stop playing around with married men, there wouldn't be a high divorce rate. Now, I'm not blaming it just on that. But why let him fulfill his guilty pleasures and he's married? Get a divorce. Don't hurt your wife like that. Do you know how devastating that is? I've been through it. I've never been married, but I was in a solid relationship one time for about 10 years and he cheated. So I know how that feels. So I always knew I didn't want to inflict that pain on another woman because I knew exactly how it felt. I can't begin to tell you because this is a man that I wanted to marry. I can't begin to tell you what I went through, and I wasn't even married to him. All I had to do was walk away. These women have children, They built something together, and they have to sit there and think about what all they have to throw away because you wanted to cheat with their husband. You knew he was married. I'm not putting all the blame on women. I'm not putting all the blame on men. But it's you, it's both. It's both. And you have to sometimes think about number one, what could happen to me if I break up this marriage? And what could happen to the kids, especially if they have young kids? So you're only thinking about yourself. So you're selfish in this matter because you want this man that had already took an oath with another woman. What about I am my sister's keeper? Have we really lost that? Have we really lost so much respect for ourselves that we don't care about the other woman? I see on these shows where that's pretty much what they're saying. I don't care if she's crying. I don't care if she feels pain. I'm only thinking about myself. I'm not her sister. I don't know her. So her pain or whatever she go through, that is not going to affect me. That's not going to bother me at all. How heartless can a woman be if she really feels like that? That's cold. That is really cold. And to say stuff happens, it's this world. It's this evil world that we are now in where morals are gone. Valuing yourself is gone. All of our priorities, they're gone. The world is shifting and we're shifting along with it. So to say that I have a sister, I'm going to protect her, I'm going to support her, I'm going to respect her, and I'm just going to love all over her. I'm going to be there when those tears fall. I'm going to be there through her hard times when she's in a swamp and she can't get out. I'm going to be there when she's in those trenches and she can't fight her way through because I love her. And this is the love that I'm going to show my sister. What happened to that? Are we not bonded anymore? Have we really lost sight of valuing each other? Once we come back to that, there'll be no more sister wives. There's a show on TV right now where, and they're sister wives. They allow the husband to bring in another woman, maybe one, two, or three. I've seen as many as three. And they justify it by saying it was done biblically or this is what they want too. Now they'll say this is what they want, but I've seen a couple of them where you could tell it's not really what they want. That guy will bring someone in who looks better than them, dress better than them, cook better than them, and you're going to tell me you're happy? You one of the couples there he married three other women and they had a bed specially made for all four of them to fit in the bed. You going to tell me that you're happy with that? You rather ignore I am my sister's keeper to become a sister wife? It's crazy to me. So I had to talk about it because we're not honoring one another. And that's where I think after we lost that, it's just anything goes. So I'm going to keep my values. I have some core values with my friends. I'm sure they have it with me. We're going to do a pledge to always be those kind of friends, have those kind of friendships where men are off limit. Most of my friends are married and they know their husband is off limit. I may sit up and join in the conversation with them, but that's as far as it will go. And thank God that in my circle, the men are so respectful and honoring their wives that I know I'm not even going to have a problem with them. I love their marriages. So it goes to loving yourself and keeping your morals. You don't have to be with a married man because you're lonely. Find a hobby. Don't commit that sin. And wait, patiently wait. I might be the one that's saying on my deathbed, I'm still waiting, but you know what? I'm not going out of here committing adultery because I'm lonely. I'll deal with this some other way. And one of them is writing and getting on here doing these YouTube videos. So I wanted to talk about that. I wrote a little pledge that's on this video and read it. Just be your sister's keeper. Learn how to really be there for women. We always need uplifting. We're always going to need that because most of us are single and we're doing everything on our own. So I need uplifting. I'm always going to need encouragement. Have my back like I have your back. Be a sister's keeper. It's the most beautiful thing. I had a friend who called me because she met a guy that I dated. Oh my God, this has been about 30 years ago. And she found me and she called me and said, I didn't know this was the guy that you dated back then. And when I found out, I told him, I can't talk to you anymore until I talk to Lisa. And she called me. I gave her my permission, of course, because it was 30 years ago. But think about that. This girl, and we used to be close and lost contact, but she thought about that. And that's what led me to write this I Am My Sister's Keeper, because to call me after 30 years and say, I can't talk to this guy. Wow. She honored me. She respected me. So that's what we lost, and that's what we need to get back to. Quit letting these guys run amok because that's what it looks like. Nobody can stay in a healthy relationship anymore. And guess what? When we're in these unhealthy relationships, we're unhealthy, period. Our bodies are fighting off stress every day. It's a continuous battle. You're trying to keep a man who doesn't love you enough to only be with you. Love yourself enough because once you love yourself enough, you'll pull yourself out of that relationship. I always said this I'd rather cry in the dark night after night before I let a man disrespect me. And that's what happens when you love yourself and know your worth. You start valuing yourself so you don't make those stupid mistakes. We're too old now. But once you get into a circle of sisters, I mean, not blood sisters, true sisters, friendships, and have each other's back, you are committed more to that relationship than any other relationship because you feel the warmth, you feel the love. I am my sister's keeper, definitely, and I will be forever. So thank you for listening today. I hope you all have a blessed day.